Alright, hey guys, what's going on? This is Kyle. Um, this one topic I want to talk about is John Laurinaitis' people power. I have to say I like John Laurinaitis, and him being this heelish, douchebagish general manager. I like it. I will say this. A lot of people can't stand John Laurinaitis. A lot of people hate John Laurinaitis. I don't say hate him, not hate him like you're supposed to hate a bad guy, a bad wrestler, but they really just don't see any use for him at all. And they, excuse me, and they make fun of him, always messing up when he talks on the mic. Well, here's my thing with this is that I like John Laurinaitis as the GM of both Raw and SmackDown. To me, we haven't had a heelish general manager in a long time. And personally, I say a good heelish general manager in a long time. Probably the most recent heel general manager or authority figure we had probably since Johnny Ace was Vicky Guerrero on the SmackDown brand a couple of years back. And even then, to me, she was a crappy GM. Teddy Theodore Long, to me, I've never found Teddy Theodore Long entertaining. Teddy Theodore Long is probably one of the, I guess you could say, the biggest, face GMs in WWE history because he's never turned heel or anything. So he's probably the biggest face. But he's been the general manager on SmackDown for years. And he's boring, he's not entertaining to me, and I honestly think, John Laurinaitis, for a guy who's been under Vince McMahon's right-hand man, and being vice president of talent relations, legitimately, which he was, for, 6 or 7 years. I think for him to be a guy behind the scenes for so many years, like I said, 6, 7 years, and he's now transitioning into an on-screen character, and like the heelish general manager. I think he's done a pretty good job, in my opinion. Now, the segment he had with Big Show late last night, I thought on Raw, I thought that was ridiculous. I thought it was stupid. I thought it lasted way too long, further than what the time. I mean, it was pushing nearly 20 minutes on the segment with him and Big Show and firing Big Show. I thought that was stupid, and I thought it didn't need to get the amount of time that it got. But at the end of the day, the ends justifies the means, and so what it accomplished is to show, John Laurinaitis as more of a heel figure and to give him more heat as a heel authority. So I like that. And yes, John Laurinaitis, he's messed up. You can count on one hand how many times he's messed up. On live television, on the microphone where he mixes someone's name up, stuff like that. You know what? It's Raw. Raw is always live. Things like that's gonna happen. Sure, and people say, well, it's happened more than once. Well, yeah, but you know what? To me, I necessarily don't care about that. I mean, people find the smallest details and stuff to pick at and complain about it. Me, I find it funny when it messes up on TV. Secondly, like I said, this is his first time transitioning into an on-screen character. So I kind of cut him some slack a little bit. But when he does messes up, I find it funny and hilarious when he does. Because it's very rarely will we see anybody mess up on live television on Raw. So to see it, anybody mess up live on Raw, whether it's, a botch or messing up on a promo, I think it's funny. I take it for what it is. But I enjoy John Laurinaitis as general manager. I'm glad that he's the general manager of not only Raw but SmackDown, because I can't remember any general manager to have control of both shows other than Vince McMahon himself. But besides that, I can't remember anyone else who's had control of both shows. And actually, I think because John Laurinaitis, I think, has done a good job in being a heel authority figure, not only for Raw, but also SmackDown, I think he kind of adds a little bit of an element or a layer of making SmackDown a little bit more interesting for me, because sometimes SmackDown is just dull and stiff as a board. You know, their roster it lacks compared to Raw. So, but, you know, I think having John Laurinaitis being the GM on the SmackDown brand, and we see him on SmackDown and interact with the SmackDown stars, I think it adds some more flavor to SmackDown, and I think it's what the SmackDown show needs. You know, having a heel figure authority like Johnny Ace, you know, push people around on the SmackDown show. Like I said, when SmackDown is the, you know, the underrated show, the B show, the show that a lot of people don't really particularly care for. So I think he adds some interest to SmackDown for me. You know, so I like I said, you know, is John Laurinaitis, is he the, if you put him on the level of Vince McMahon or Paul Heyman, Stephanie McMahon, or Eric Bischoff is one of the greatest general managers? No. John Laurinaitis is nowhere near those people who I mentioned in terms of a general manager. But, like I said, I think considering the fact that he's been, you know, a talent relations guy under Vince McMahon for the last 7 years, even though he's not that anymore, because now he's an on-screen character, now he's no longer that. Vince replaced Johnny Ace with some woman as the new vice president of talent relations. But he still addresses himself as talent relations on TV, but behind the scenes, in real life, he's no longer the vice president of talent relations because he's now doing this in WWE, being the GM. So, but I will say, you know, for him formerly being, you know, in talent relations for 7 years under Vince McMahon, behind the scenes, to just starting, it hasn't even been a year yet since John Laurinaitis has been an on-screen character. He's only been an on-screen character since, like, what, SummerSlam of last year, in August. So, since SummerSlam of last year, leading all the way up to now, in May, I think he's improved. You know, at first he was stiff, he was boring as hell, but, you know, as the months went by, he's improved, he's gotten better. Like I said, I enjoy him as a heel authority figure. Because, like I said, that's something we haven't had in wrestling in a while. It's just a heelish general manager who's not only running one show, but both shows. Not only Raw, but SmackDown, in which, like I said, I think him also being in control of SmackDown, we get to see him on SmackDown and, you know, throw his power around on SmackDown. I think it helps the SmackDown show and makes the SmackDown show a little bit better. To me, having him there, because to me, Teddy Theodore Long being the GM of SmackDown was just boring, didn't do anything for me. Teddy Theodore Long was a crappy GM. He's not one of my, if I was to put some of my top 3 favorite general managers of all time in WWE, Teddy Theodore Long would not be in that top 3, not even the top 10, because I just don't care for him that much. But yeah, so this is just my opinion on this topic. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys enjoy people power? People power? Or do you hate it? Do you hate John Laurinaitis? Do you stink over that idea of him being the GM? Do you enjoy him being a heel authority figure? Leave your thoughts on this box below. And yes, I do think personally his feud with John Cena going to Over the Limit pay-per-view, I think it's ridiculous him having an official match when he's not necessarily a wrestler, even though he had wrestling experience, but, you know, this time in his life, he's not a wrestler. So I do think that's ridiculous and stupid, but what can you say? Extreme Rules and WrestleMania is over with, so this is the time when WWE starts to go back to their crappy booking, and Over the Limit is one of those filler pay-per-views. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this topic in the comment box below. Subscribe. Peace.